universal mysteries have enthralled humanity for a long time, for a period of time that is incomprehensible. It is imagined that these mysteries hold the answers to basic soul-searching questions such as, why am I here in this life? What is my purpose in life? Who am I, really? Who is at the real core of my being? Is it possible to connect with eternity, with the divine? And so we ask, how can the universal mysteries be unveiled for us? George Herbert, a 17th century Welsh poet, wrote, "Through the mazes of this world, it was not my earthly intellect, but your silk rope, lowered to me from heaven, which guided me and showed me how to climb up it to you." We as human beings are seeking true life as we travel through the mazes of this world. This human quest continues from day to day, from one stage of development to the next, because the task of humanity is to forge a new link with the divine mystery. This goal has not yet been accomplished by everyone. Still, almost every human being feels the urge to taste and experience the elusive promise of the other life. Is it not true that in spite of the crushing monotony of our daily lives, every human being feels something of this urge? There is an intense urge to understand at least some portion of this mystery. Jan van Reichenborch, one of the founders of the spiritual school of the Golden Rosy Cross, has stated, "Everything can be derived from the only true concept of God. This true concept of God is the only center from which everything can be explained and understood. All the great ones of the Spirit tried to lead their pupils to a liberating concept of God." These teachings unveil the universal mysteries. They form a connection with the divine element in the human being. For the human mind, the concept of God is something intangible, as stated in the Dao de Jing by the Chinese sage Lao Tzu. There we are shown how elusive an understanding of the divine can be for the ordinary natural mind. From chapter 14 of the Dao de Jing, we read, "Look at Tao and you do not see it. People call it colorless. Listen to Tao and you do not hear it. People call it soundless. Reach for Tao and you do not touch it. People call it immaterial. There are no words to express this threefold enigma. That is why they blend into one. Tao's above is not in the light. Its below is not in the dark. Tao is eternal and cannot be defined by any name. It always returns to not being."
Lao Tzu's words show us that human beings are unable to have any idea of the universal mysteries by relying on our natural faculties. There is a natural human being, completely of the earth, earthly, born of the flesh. This natural human being may not understand, but he or she does seek. In response to this seeking, an answer is received. It is a call from within, an inner image that is offered by the messengers of the light. We can imagine that there is also a spiritual human being hidden within our heart sanctuary, waiting to be released by the Divine Spirit. Only a rudimentary principle of this spiritual human being remains present in the heart sanctuary. In the universal teachings, this principle is called the lotus, the rose of the heart, or the spark of the Divine Spirit. It is buried within our heart sanctuary. And when we say buried, we mean that the principle is inactive, dormant, as if it were in a deep sleep. When this principle awakens in us, we will be able to approach the divine mystery with a completely different understanding. Only the spiritual human being is able to fathom and comprehend the universal mysteries. The sleeping divine soul within us yearns for the link with the universal spirit. How can this link be re-established? In his book, De Gloria Intacta, Jan van Reichenborg outlined some important aspects of realizing the link between the divine spirit spark and the universal light, the divine mystery. He wrote, "The seeker for higher values cannot realize too strongly that they live in a prison and in great deception. A human being no longer has first-hand knowledge, no first-hand link with the spirit. We cannot speak of free thinking, but our thinking can be explained by the subconscious, by the subconscious tendencies of the emotional and desire life. We must speak of a degenerative cycle because our thinking and willing are increasingly imprisoned by our inclinations and by the state of our blood, which, in their turn, can be largely explained by our karma and our past. Therefore, the urgent question is, where does a person have to turn? Which method must a person use to escape this downward cycle that appears in every human life?
how will a human being be able to give soul life a central place? First of all, insight is needed. If we can come to understand how we have been thoroughly trained and conditioned by our existence, if we can realize that our egocentric life constitutes the walls of our own prison, then we will not long for higher or more beautiful things for ourselves, for our ego. We will then long for the higher soul life. We can find a turning point that allows a fundamental inner change, a new beginning. As a result of this fundamental change, cracks will begin to appear in the prison walls of the ego, and the first rays of the divine sun will be able to touch the heart. This touch will awaken the original divine inner principle, the spirit spark. When the heart has become silent, even for a moment, then the divine light received by the heart will illuminate our thinking, enabling us to understand the universal mysteries. The human being that achieves a true understanding of the universal mysteries is not only one who knows, but one who can also find peace and harmony within. This inner source of harmony and balance can flow into everything we are and everything we do. Symbolically speaking, this source can be found at the intersection of the cross, where the horizontal bar meets the vertical bar. The horizontal bar may be seen as the life of the personality, while the vertical post symbolizes the ascent of the soul. When the rose, the potential connection with the universal mysteries, is placed at this intersection, then the rose can flower forth in the Christ power. With this flowering, a link with the universal spirit can be forged. The natural human being can become a spirit-soul human being. To conclude this contemplative reading, we will read a few verses from one of our temple songs. Listen, you who long for the gnosis. Where is your treasure so dear? Does it lie hidden in darkness, or do you raise it in the light which is near? Oh, know then that always in joy or despair, wherever your treasure, your heart will be there. Friends, once the King of Life gave us a precious pearl filled with might, but the dark heart keeps it captive. Come, carry it once again towards the light, so it can reflect the true heart's purity. And there, where your treasure is, your heart then will be.